God and to someone I trust. Matthew 5:8 says, happy are the pure in heart. Step 4 says we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Lamentations 3:40 says, let us examine our ways and test them. Let us return to the Lord. No matter where we're at in our recovery, whether we're 3 days clean or 9.5 years clean, we need to always have a sponsor. We need to always have somebody that we can go to when we're struggling, somebody that we can go to when we just need to talk, when we need to get some things off of our chest, for anything. So tonight we're going to answer 5 questions pertaining to a sponsor. Why do I need a sponsor? What are the qualities of a sponsor? What does a sponsor do? How do I find a sponsor? What is the difference between a sponsor and an accountability partner? Why do I need a sponsor? There are 3 reasons why we would need a sponsor and or an accountability partner. The first one is having a sponsor is simply biblical. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verses 9 through 12 tells us, 2 are better off than one because they can work more effectively. If one of them falls down, the other can help him up. But if someone is alone, there is no one to help him. 2 people can resist an attack that would defeat one person alone. Proverbs 27:17 tells us, as iron sharpens iron, so one sharpens another. The phrase one another is used in the New Testament over 50 times. We are not called to do this recovery thing alone. We're not called to do life alone. You know, the term sponsor is something that we use in recovery a lot. If you're not in recovery, if you've never struggled with drugs or alcohol, but you still attend church regularly your whole life, you still need to be discipled. You still need a mentor, which that's what a sponsor is for us in recovery. It's somebody who has been through some of the same things that we've been through, and when we're struggling with something, I can go to Greg or Greg can go to me, and we can encourage one another. We can sharpen one another as iron sharpens iron. Having a sponsor and or accountability partner is a key part of your recovery program. Do you know that your recovery program has 4 key elements to success? If your program includes each of these areas, you are well on your way to the solution to wholeness. The first key is maintaining your honest view of reality as you work each step. I have yet to see this program fail for someone who could completely be honest with himself or herself. At Celebrate Recovery, we have step studies. We go through the 12 steps and the 8 principles. And anytime I've led a step study or somebody is about to do one for the first time, I tell every person the exact same thing each time because it is completely true. You will only get from this what you give to this. What you are willing to put in is what you will get from a step study. If you are really, really seeking healness and freedom from a certain area of your life and you just lay it all out on the table in a step study, I can almost guarantee you that when that step study is done, you're going to have healing from whatever you're going through that step study for. Step studies are also, whether you're man or woman, brotherhood, sisterhood. I've been able to share things in a step study through listening to other men be vulnerable enough that have allowed me to share things that I have never in my life shared. But then once I shared that, I was able to go home and share that. I've shared it with my wife and my sister, things that I carried for 20-some years that happened to me when I was a teenager. That's what a step study will do for you. If you will put it all, you're all into it, you'll get everything that a step study has to offer from it. The second key element is making your attendance at your recovery group meetings a priority in your schedule. Look, it's New Year's Eve. I think everybody who's here tonight, the fact that you're here is evident that your recovery is important to you, because you could be getting ready to go to the bar, as most people are. But we're here, we're at a recovery meeting, and that shows just how serious you are about your recovery. The third element is maintaining your spiritual program with Jesus through prayer, meditation, and the study of his word. We're going to focus more on this in Principle 7, but you do not have to wait until you get there to develop your relationship with Christ. Your sponsor can pray for you and help keep you centered on God's word. The last key element to a successful program is getting involved in service. Once you have completed Principle 8, who is it? Who is it? Once you have completed Principle 8, you will be able to serve as a sponsor. Until that time, however, there are plenty of other service opportunities to get you started. There's a lot of ways to help here at CR. You can be willing to come here early and hand out bulletins. You can be willing to come up here on the stage after worship and do the announcements, do the 8 principles. You can do the serenity prayer. You can help with a meal. You can help with Crosstalk Cafe. There's many, many ways where you can get plugged in here at Celebrate Recovery. Having a sponsor and an accountability partner is the best guard against relapse. By providing feedback to keep you on track, a sponsor and or accountability partner can see your old dysfunctional, self-defeating patterns beginning to surface and point them out to you quickly. He or she can confront you with truth and love without placing shame or guilt. Ecclesiastes 7:5 tells us it is better to be criticized by a wise man than to be praised by a fool. The trouble with most of us is that we would rather be ruined by praise than saved by criticism. You also have to be at a point in your recovery where we can take constructive criticism. That's what your sponsor is there for, is to call you out on your crap. And you have to realize that that's what they're doing, simply calling you out. That's their job as your sponsor, and 9 times out of 10, they're doing that because they love you. So we have to be willing to accept that. What are the qualities of a sponsor? She's going to come up here and teach. Proverbs chapter 20, verse 5 says, though good advice lies deep within the counselor's heart, the wise man would draw it out. What's that pretty? When you are selecting a sponsor, look for the following qualities. Does their walk match their talk? Are they living the 8 principles? Number 2, do they have a growing relationship with Jesus Christ? Do you see the character of Christ developing in them? Number 3, do they express the desire to help others on the road to recovery? There is a big difference between helping others and trying to fix others. I was blessed to help run a recovery house for 4.5 years, and I used to tell everybody in the house, and I still tell people to this day, if we're truly working a program of recovery, if we're for real about our recovery, the truth is that we are all on the exact same road. We're just scattered out along that road. And it is our job that whoever we are in front of, it's our job, it's our duty to always look back and see who's behind us and be willing to help them get to where we are so that then they in return can look back and help the next person. That's what recovery is, guys. It's completely 100% about giving back. If you're not willing to give back, then I would have to say I'd have to question your recovery and your sincerity about what you're really doing. Are they a good listener? Do you sense that they honestly care about what you have to say? Are they strong enough to confront your denial or procrastination? Look, if your sponsor or your accountability partner, every time you go to them, they just sign off on everything you're saying, that's probably not a good sponsor or an accountability partner. You know, that just isn't a good quality. Do they offer suggestions? Sometimes we need help in seeing options or alternatives that we are unable to find on our own. A good sponsor can take an objective view and offer suggestions. They do not give orders. Can they share their own struggles with others? Are they willing to open up and be vulnerable and transparent? I'll share something about myself with that first few years of my recovery. I never, people that if I had 3 years recovery and you had 1 year recovery, I didn't share my struggles with you because I thought that was a burden to people, or I just thought that they didn't need to know what I was struggling with. And my sister-in-law told me one day, she said, you need to start opening up to them and letting people know your vulnerabilities and what you struggle with so you allow yourself to be more relatable. And I have found through doing that for the last 6 years of being an open book, I think I've been able to help so many more people and let them know that what they're going through, I've went through, and the truth of the matter is so many other people have went through it too. Because I think a lot of times in recovery, we think we're the only one, like I'm the only one struggling with this, or should I be struggling with this? I've got 6 months clean. We've all been there. We've all done that. So your sponsor or your accountability partner needs to be able to also let you know that, hey, man, I've been there. I've struggled with that. This is how I was able to get out of that. What is the role of a sponsor? They are available in times of crisis or potential relapse. Ecclesiastes 4:12 says, 2 people can resist an attack that would defeat 1 person. Your sponsor should be available, but also in order for them to be available, guess what? We got to reach out. I've seen so many times where we don't reach out. We're struggling with so much. I've seen so many people on the brink of a relapse or relapse, and it's because they didn't reach out. Your sponsor, your friend, they can't help you if they don't know what's going on. If you don't call them, if you don't text them, that's on us, not the sponsor. They are there to encourage you to work the principles at your own speed. It is not the job of the principals. It is not his or her job to work the principles for you. They can coach your progress, confront you when you're stuck, and slow you down when you're moving too fast. A lot of us in recovery, especially those who were addicts, we want that quick gratification. Look, if you go through a step study can take anywhere from 8 months to a year to complete, but we want to complete it in 7 days. We want it to be done. We got 7 days clean. A lot of times we think we're healed, we're good to go. We got it all figured out. I'm 30 days clean. I got life figured out now. And that's just not the truth, though. These steps are designed, again, it goes back to you will get what you put into it. If you complete the 12 steps in 7 days, well, you just didn't put nothing into it. Most importantly, they attempt to model the lifestyle that results from working the 8 principles. It's difficult to inspire others to accomplish what you haven't been willing to try yourself. A good sponsor simply lives the principles. They are continuing their walk with Jesus, and it's just simply visible because when you see Jesus working in somebody and changing the way they talk, changing the way they do things, changing the way they act, it's visible to everybody. It's plain as day. How do I find a sponsor? Well, the easy answer to that is right here at Celebrate Recovery. Who has completed a step study here? Anybody with their hands up is qualified to be a sponsor, but that also means that they still need to sponsor themselves. Can you relate to this person's story? If you are choosing someone to be your sponsor, do they meet the qualities of a good sponsor that we just covered? If you ask someone to be your sponsor and that person says no, do not take it personal. Those of us who are able to be a sponsor, a lot of times we have to learn how to say no. You know what? I can't be your sponsor. I think at one point in time I probably had like 15 people that I was sponsoring. Everybody that asked, yep. And finally I had to learn to say, you know what, I can't. Nothing against you, but I have enough on my plate. And I think that mirrors somebody who's working their recovery faithfully, that they're in a position to where they're not afraid to, they're not trying to hurt your feelings, but sometimes people are easily offended. But it says a lot about that person too, that they know that for whatever reason at that moment their plate's full and they can't take on somebody else. What is the difference between a sponsor and an accountability partner? Can I get the band to come up? A sponsor is someone who has completed the 4 Celebrate Recovery principle guides and have worked through the 8 principles and the 12 steps. He or she meets the 6 requirements that we talked about in the role of a sponsor. An accountability partner is someone you ask to hold you accountable in certain areas of your life or issues, such as meeting attendance, journaling, and so forth. Me personally, I just take the role of accountability partner in a lot of people's lives, and I just message them, you come to CR, you come to church, what are you doing with your life? Get it together. The accountability partner or groups acts as a team, whereas the sponsor is the role of a coach. You can start forming accountability teams in your small groups tonight. When you share, just ask if someone is interested. We're going to open these altars up. Look, that's not in the lesson, but that is a great point. If at any time you feel that the relationship between you and your sponsor isn't working, just like somebody can tell you no, they don't want to be your sponsor, well, you can fire them. Plain and simple. You don't have to be. Yeah, well, that's the thing too. When it comes to relating to the story, to your sponsor's story, God will let you know. When you attend small groups regularly, God will put it on your heart through hearing what somebody else shares that, you know what, that person should probably, I'm going to ask that person to be my sponsor. We open up these altars tonight, and if you don't have a sponsor, I strongly encourage you as we go into 2025 to start praying and asking God to lead somebody into your life that could be a good sponsor for you. Another thing is that if you're a female, your sponsor has to be a female. If you're a male, your sponsor has to be a male. If you don't know Jesus, Jesus is the greatest sponsor and accountability partner you'll ever have in your life. That just needs to be said too. So we're going to open up these altars, and you guys are welcome to